Is it really possible to use a VPN when taking paid surveys and that way get access to the highest paying service no matter where you live? This is a question I get every single day, many times, and therefore I decided to record this video where I'll explain more about this based on my experience after having tested hundreds of different paid service sites over the last many years and taken thousands of paid surveys. So this is actually based on real experiences and real knowledge, and there are some very important things you need to know before you start using a technique like this. So in case you are new to paid surveys, then I just quickly want to explain that the reason that so many people, for example, ask me if they can use a VPN to fake their country basically when joining paid service sites is because the amount of paid service that are available varies a lot depending on the country you live in, and the rewards you get per survey also will vary a lot depending on the country you live in. And I just also want to explain a little bit more about why that is, because some people seem to think that it's just because companies are being unfair or discriminating or something like this. But it's important whenever you make money online, it's important to understand a little bit about the business model so you understand why you can make money. And when it comes to market research, because paid service are used for market research, it's companies, it's governments, it's organizations that needs feedback from real users. And online paid service is just a really fast way to get a lot of data that they can use to, for example, improve their websites, their products, their services, whatever it can be. And they are willing to pay for this because this information are valuable for them. But of course, depending on the company, depending on the organization or whatever that needs the feedback, they do not necessarily need people from all parts of the world. If it's a company that's only located in the UK or US or Singapore or wherever it is, and they only have products or services for that specific country, then of course they are not willing to pay for people sharing their opinion from all kind of countries where they do not have an audience at all. That would just be a waste of time and money for them. And that's important to understand, because I so often see this, it's so discriminating that service sites don't offer that in my country. Well, no, it's not. It's just because they don't have a market there, so it wouldn't make sense. And think about it from their perspective also. Why would they throw away money, which it basically would be if they did that? So that's just a bit of background information to understand. And I know there's quite a bit of information in this, but this is about educating yourself. If you want to make money online, you need to also take a little bit of time to educate yourself. So please listen carefully to all the details here, because there are some very important details you need to understand. And the first thing is here to understand why there are just different opportunities depending on the country you live in. That's just how it is. The next important thing we need to talk about are the people that are running these paid service sites, because it seems like some people think that it's okay to try to cheat because it's just, service sites, like who cares, or organization companies. But what you need to understand is that everybody that owns a service site where you can potentially earn by taking paid survey, every company that conducts these surveys, they are real people, regular people, just like you and me, just trying to make a living and providing for themselves and their family. And this is their business. They, for example, an owner of a service site, they are the middleman between the companies and organizations and you, so they connect the two. That is how they make an honest living. Of course, there are some scam service sites, but now here we are focusing on the legit ones, and that's what they do. So it's very important to think about that also, because the people that want to, for example, use VPN, they are actually trying to cheat these regular people. It's basically stealing from these regular people, and it has really big consequences. And often people don't think about how big consequences it can have to try to cheat these service sites, because I personally know service sites that had to close down because there was so much fraud that the organization, they just blamed those service sites and said like, oh, all your users are just cheating, so we are not going to send any more service to you. And think about that. That's a regular person losing his business because people are cheating and faking their country. And many people don't think about that, but it's basically stealing and harming other people by doing that. And this can just not be justified for any reason, in my personal opinion. Another thing to consider is that even if you don't care about other people, which I really hope you do, because, then life will just be better if you also care about others and what happens to others. But even if that's the case, then think about it. The more fraud there is, the more service sites maybe have to close down. And also, if companies find out, well, it's impossible to get good, valuable information from paid service, they will just stop spending money on paid service. So that means that there will be less and less paid service if people continue to try to cheat. And that means that you are actually ruining your own chances and other people's chances of earning legit, honest money by taking paid service, because if it escalated to a level where companies couldn't get any valuable information like that, they would just stop paying us and there would be no more ways to earn by taking paid surveys. Of course, that's an extreme scenario, but it's just to put it into perspective what to think about the consequences of these actions here. So one more thing to think about if you're thinking about using a VPN to fake your country so you can get access to paid service that are not available in your country is that service sites and companies know that people try to cheat. It has really escalated a lot since I first started taking paid service many years ago, and there's more and more fraud, and service sites know this and they are getting stricter and stricter security. So in most cases, they will detect the use of, for example, a VPN to fake your country, and you will get banned at some point. And I see often people complain, oh, this service site is a scam, it didn't pay me. And in reality, then it turns out, well, they didn't pay you because you were cheating, you were faking your country, and now you're complaining that they're not actually paying you because you were caught cheating. That just doesn't make sense. So keep that in mind also if you see a lot of complaints, if it's like just about specific service sites. Sometimes there are valid complaints, of course, about certain service sites there are issues with, definitely. But sometimes I also just see that some of these cheaters, they are targeting certain service sites and get paid to sites and making these claims, but in reality it's just because they are angry that they got caught cheating. And not only will they maybe detect the VPN, in some cases they might not, but more and more service sites are asking for more and more verification before you can actually get paid. So that means they will ask for example, this KYC, like short for know your customer, and meaning that they need to verify your identity. It can be through your phone, it can be sometimes even uploading personal documents, all kind of proof. And I understand, I get these questions often like, oh, I don't want to upload anything, I don't want to verify my identity, I don't trust this service site. And I do understand that, and you also have to be careful, make sure it's actually really a legit service site before you do that. But you also have to understand that most service sites have to ask for more and more verification, because if not, they would simply go out of business, because they have to make sure that the people they are paying are actually being legit and honest, because if not, the companies that provide those services would just not use them anymore and they would go out of business. So that's also important to understand, that they have more and more security, and you will get caught even if they don't detect the VPN. They have other securities, measurements, and most sites by now will catch you at some point, and then you will get banned and you will not get paid. So what can you then do if you, for example, live in a country where it's hard to get access to paid service or high-paying service? Let's talk a little bit about that next. So when it comes to taking paid surveys, it's very important that you do it with the realistic expectations. It's not a way to make a living. It's not a way to make a full-time income or become rich or anything like that. Sometimes I also see people from certain countries where the average income is maybe not so high, and they are going, for example, for the US service sites because they can see high rewards. But think about it. The countries that offer higher rewards, they also have a higher cost of living. So overall, the rewards are kind of actually at the same level in most countries. Paid service is meant as a way to share your opinion, have your say, have your opinion heard, and earn a bit extra on the side at the same time. And it can be some great extra money. You can do it no matter what your background is, and you can start earning right away. But be realistic about it, and then also make sure you join the right sites for your country, because in most countries there are actually some service sites some decent ones, and I've taken the time to build out manually lists of the best service sites in many different countries. You can see that here on my website here. There are a lot of countries, and I regularly add some for the countries that have the most paid service, and these are the ones that I know have a decent amount of good surveys, so you can find some good options here. So I'll leave a link to that below, then you can go and find your country and find the best sites there. I regularly update these lists also again manually. There is also one called international service sites, so if your country is not here, don't ask me like where it is, then just go for this here now, the one that called international. But I also do want to recognize that in some countries there will just not be a lot of paid surveys. That is just how it is. There's nothing you can do about that. That's just because, maybe there's not so much market research going on in that country. That's not really a problem, because then there are plenty of other free ways to make money online. Sometimes it seems like people think that paid service is the only free way to make money online. It's not. It's a great and easy way to get started, but there are many other methods. So in case you live in a country where there are not a lot or basically no paid service, then I do have a video that I published. I'll leave a link below here also about 13 free ways to make money online, and there in that video those 13 methods have many different platforms for each of them, and I explain there all these different free ways you can start earning some extra money. So check that out if that's the case, or if you just also want to try something else than paid surveys, because there definitely are methods if you actually take the time to listen to that video, to go through the material and actually try those methods. Because I just very often find it that people are just too lazy to actually do something. They just try a couple of things, say, oh, it's not working. Well, actually, again, as I mentioned in the video beginning here, take a little bit of time, educate yourself. If you want to earn some money online, whether it's a bit extra or whatever it is, find the right methods for you. There are methods no matter where you live. And in my personal opinion, cheating and basically stealing from other people can never be justified, because there are methods that you can use. So check out the resources I mentioned below there for the right options for you. And overall also, I hope this video helped educate you about using a VPN for surveys and why you have to be very careful about that, and why it's actually not even necessary. And if the video helped you, make sure to hit the like button, and don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel and hit the notification bell so you won't miss out next time I release a video with tips and tricks about different ways to make money online.